Hi, David Wright here, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the motorbike test here in Spain. Now, some of you have probably been following me and you've seen that I've just passed the part two of the A2 motorbike test here in Spain. That is the slalom course test. And yeah, I just want to tell you a little bit about what's involved in taking the motorbike test here in Spain and what I've been through and experiences that I've had. Okay, so yeah, in Spain, just to give you a bit of an outline, in Spain, if you have a car driving license for more than 3 years, then you can ride a 125cc motorbike here in Spain without any experience at all. You don't need L plates, you can take passengers on the back, and you can ride the motorbike on motorways. Now, that's rather crazy. These rules will be changing here in Spain later this year or early next year. You will have to start taking a motorbike test to drive a 125cc motorbike. But at the moment, as it stands, if you've got a car driving license for more than 3 years, then anybody can go out and buy a 125cc motorbike or a moped or scooter without taking any test whatsoever. Okay, so I wanted to get a bigger motorbike here in Spain. I've always had my dream motorbike, Harley Davidson one day, and just getting a bigger, more powerful motorbike. So I've been riding here in Spain for about 20 years. I bought through this system here where you can ride a motorbike on the car license. I did take a CBT test in the UK, so I have got some riding experience and passed an exam in the UK. But here in Spain, I didn't take any tests to buy this motorbike. I went out and bought a 125cc bike, quite a big heavy bike for a 125, and I've been riding that around. I've had two of these bikes actually over the time here. Now, I wanted to get a bigger bike, so you haven't been able to do the motorbike test here in Spain in Spanish. Things are going to be changing shortly. Some places are already changing these rules and regulations already, but as it stands at the moment, you can't take the motorbike test in English. You can only take it in Spanish. So what does that mean? That means that you need to go and enroll in a school here, a local school. Obviously, it's a Spanish driving school. You have to take lessons. Now, to enroll in the school, I paid €180, and what that includes is a test, an exam, and all the theory materials, online materials, and classes as many times a week as you want. So I started off by going to the school 3 times a week, finding out how it all works, listening to the lectures, things like that. Now, I can speak and understand Spanish pretty well. I've been married to a Spanish girl for a while, so my Spanish is pretty good. But reading and writing Spanish has always been a bit more difficult for me, and I've struggled with that. So that's why I wanted to wait really for the motorbike test, because I was hoping it's going to change. They've been saying it's going to change for years. It's never had, so I thought, take the plunge now and start doing it. So I enrolled in the school. I started going through the books. They give you course material and books. There's videos, lectures, and the online lessons are very good as well. You can click onto the website that the school have, go through the materials, and do some of the mock tests and exams all online. This is for the theory test. Now, first of all, you need to pass a medical here. So I went and had a medical. The medical is very, very standard medical. It's sort of stand up, turn around, and yeah, you look okay, stamp the bit of paper, and that is it. They do ask you some medical questions, but they're very, very basic. There is no actual medical exam. It's just a conference with, well, in my case, it was the secretary of the clinic that gives you the medical okay to go ahead and go on with these courses. So, setting the A2 motorbike test, that means I can buy a bigger motorbike here in Spain. There is 3 main parts to this. The first part is the theory test. So you need to enroll in a school. You can't just go and take this theory test. You wouldn't have a chance really. I spoke to my Spanish hairdresser a little while ago. He did this. He got some of the books, went through the stuff online, and went and took the test and failed it miserably. He got 5 questions wrong. Now, there is only 20 questions in the multiple choice question at the exam centre. This is done at I took mine in Almeria in the city, and this is done under very, very strict exam conditions. There's a security guard that walks around everybody. It's very quiet, and it's a touch screen computer. and you answer 20 questions on the computer. That is it. But those 20 questions are taken from a pool of 850 questions. So you need to know all of these questions, and it just takes them by random. Now, I set this exam 3 times and failed it 3 times. You're only allowed 2 questions wrong, and I got 3 questions wrong each time I took it. And some of the questions are a bit of a trap, you know. They're very intricate. One of the questions they ask you is regarding, can you ride a motorbike with 12 kilowatts on a 125cc license? Well, the answer is no, it's up to 11 kilowatts. So, you know, you really need to know the answer. Some of them are a little bit trick questions. And there's a lot of questions about the maintenance on a motorbike, the engine, stroke system, 2-stroke and 4-stroke engine, and a lot of maintenance questions. So you really do need to know these questions, and that's why I rolled in the school. Anyway, I passed it the 4th time lucky, and I got 100% on the 4th time. So that's the theory out the way. Then what's the next stage? The next stage is the slalom test. This is done on a track, on an off-road track, and you take some lessons first, obviously. And I enrolled, and I actually had 6 lessons there, about half-an-hour lessons, where you go through 2 different tracks. Now, the first track is a slalom, and it's a slow slalom course. You have a straight line. You have to drive over a straight line, and there's a yellow line to the left and right, and you can't touch that yellow line. Now, it's only a 20 centimeter gap, so that's about that sort of wide, just a bit bigger than the width of the tires. You do a straight line drive through that. That's 6 meters long, and then you go through 6, I think it is, or 8 slalom poles at very slow speed, not touching the poles, and you have an outline to the left and right lines that you cannot cross over. Then when you finish that slalom, and all this is done without putting your foot down at all, you can't put your foot down. And then when you finish the slalom part, there's a straight line after the slalom. You have to go into first gear and second gear quickly, high revolutions, and then do an emergency stop in a small square marked out on the floor, which is about half a meter square. Now, you mustn't put the front wheel outside of that square. It's got to be inside that square, and that is the first part of the slalom. Then the second part is a speed test. It's a similar slalom. It's a longer distance, and you have traffic lights, and you have to go, when the traffic lights go green, you pull away as quickly as you can, drive up to the slalom, and you go in and out the slalom course. Then you go to the end of the cones, turn around a full 180 degrees, come back through a chicane area at high speed in second gear and without touching the brakes. And then you have to do an emergency stop in another square at the end of this course. And this has to be done in under 25 seconds. It sounds easy, but it's not. I found them both very difficult, and it took me a few lessons before I got through them smoothly. Then before you do this in the exam centre, there is a handling part of the motorbike where you have the motorbike turned off, and you have to push it around in some parking spaces to show that you can turn the motorbike around and handle it without the motor running. It's a dead weight. Now, this motorbike also for the tests and for the training is a 400cc motorbike. So yeah, so I did the training, and then I had booked in for the test. My test was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and there was 5 of us on their course, and we went to the training centre before. This was about 7 o'clock in the morning. It was the hottest day of the year when I did it, believe it or not, 4th of July. And we did 15 minutes each on the training track, and then we drove to the test centre. Then when we got to the test centre, you registered, give your details and then they call you out, and you have to go through the test. And it is very, very strict indeed. There are 2 instructors on the test centre, and they are watching you like a hawk, and the slightest errors, you're allowed to put your foot down once, I believe. That is a small error. If you do it twice, you're out. If you cross any of the lines, you're out. Touch any of the cones, you're out. Don't brake in the right distance, you're out. Or past 25 seconds in the speed test, you're out. So very, very strict. And you can't touch the brake on one of these parts as well. And there is an examiner at the end of the track watching to see if you touch your brake lights. If you do, that is a fail as well. So yeah, very strict conditions. On my test, as I say, it was 8 o'clock it was booked in for. It was more like 8:30, 9 o'clock before we got started. There were several people in front of me doing the scooter test, and then also the 125cc test, and then it was my turn, and I was actually third in my group to go for this is for the big bike test. And the other people in my, the five of us in my group from my school had all been through the test before, and they'd all failed it once. One guy failed it twice before, so I was the first person taking it first time around. I was very nervous. Also, it has to be done in full motorbike protection gear, and that includes a full face crash helmet. This is all compulsory. Full face crash helmet, gloves, full leather jacket with protection on the elbows, shoulders, and the spine protection. Also, full motorbike protective trousers. These have to have protection on the knees and on the hips. And you also have to have motorbike boots with a heel. This is all compulsory to take the test. One guy turned up in trainers, and he was not allowed to take the test. He found somebody that gave him some boots that he put on, and the boots were very uncomfortable, and he actually touched the brake on the test with these boots, and he failed the course because of that, probably all because of him not having the right footwear. But there you go. So when it came to my turn, I was very, very nervous. As I say, I was absolutely sweating buckets, and set off on the first of all, I was on the maneuverability part of it. I maneuvered the motorbike around in the squares, and then you park it on the start line for the slalom. You step back, and the instructor ticks you off, yes, that's okay, and then you can get on the bike, you start it up, put it in gear, and he says, in your own time, when you're ready, away you go. And I drove along the straight line, which was 6 meters, then started the slalom at high speed. This is something I found very difficult in the training, and I'd only completed it at, 1 or 2 times without any errors. So very, very nervous, very conscious of not putting my foot down or touching the poles with the motorbike. These are about 6 foot high slalom poles, so you could touch it with your elbow or the back of the bike, so you have to be careful. Anyway, I passed that bit, and the acceleration went well, changed into second gear, and an emergency stop, perfect. Then the instructor waved me on to the second part, went back to the start line, and they said they're going to have some traffic lights. The lights were red, and they count backwards: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, green. And then when it's green, you go. But it don't have to go instantly, because it's on a timer. So as soon as that wheel passes, the lights start the timer going. So you get the green light, and off you go, and put it in first gear very fast, into second gear very fast, lots of speed. Just before I arrived at the cones to slalom, heavy braking, and then through the slalom as quickly as possible, and then accelerate again to the end of the track, a full 180 round the cone, and then full speed in second gear only, full speed back down the track, through the chicane, and emergency stop in the square. And believe it or not, I did it all perfectly, and in 22.5 seconds. So I passed that 100%. I was very, very pleased indeed with passing that. So that's part 2. That's the slalom part. So what's next? The ultimate part is a very basic road test. You go out with an instructor, is sitting in a car with headphones on, and they give you a walkie-talkie, and they talk you through driving along the street. They tell you to turn left, turn right at the roundabout, things like that. It's just a road test to see if you're physically capable of driving on the road in a safe manner. This lasts between 15 and 30 minutes, and I have been told that it is pretty basic. They just want to see that you're safe driving out on the road. If you've been through the theory test and you've been through the slalom test, you can understand how the motorbike works, and you are capable of driving it at a reasonable standard to pass the slalom tests. So therefore, on the road, it shouldn't be a problem. I haven't actually been through that yet. I've got it booked in. Everything is on holiday at the moment. We're in the middle of July, so I can't do the test now until the beginning of September. So once I do that course in September, I will be getting an A2 license. That means I am allowed to drive a motorbike up to a certain horsepower. I've already got my eyes set on a Harley Davidson. This is 1800cc, which is a pretty big bike, but it will have to be limited for 2 years. Now, you can drive up to I think it's 48 horsepower on an A2, so the motorbike will have to be limited for 2 years. After you've been driving for 2 years without any problems, then you can sit a small test at the end of that, which again is a street test, a bit of a formality really, and then that once those 2 years have gone past, you will get the full A license, which means you can drive any motorbike of any size. So yeah, it's very, very strict rules here in Spain. It's not as easy as people do think, and you know, I've experienced this and I've been through it, and most of the people I've spoken to have been driving motorbikes for many years, and lots of them have failed it. The pass rate for the theory test is around 50% if people study for it, and the pass rate for the slalom is around 30%. So a lot of people fail the slalom on the first test. So yeah, I would advise that you enroll in a school here and you get materials. Even if your Spanish isn't very good, start going through it, learning the Spanish words that are related to motorbikes and driving here, and it's something that you can do. Now, I have been told that in the new year that you will be able to take this exam, the theory exam and the slalom and the tests, all in different languages other than just Spanish. At the moment, it's not possible. I think there is some theory information out there on the internet. If you enroll in a school, they can change some of the questions to English, French, German, things like that. So you can go through that and ask your test center, your school that you enroll in, to change the language for you. But the thing is, the exam is in Spanish, so it's okay good translating it. And I did see some sites where some of the questions were translated, but they don't really relate. One of the questions, for example, it was translated as highway or motorway, and in English it just says main road. So main road is a bit different to highway, motorway, and urban ways, and street roads or country roads. It just comes up main road, main road, main road. So the translation is pretty bad. I would say struggle with the Spanish, go through it that way, learn the words, and take the test in Spanish. If you get the chance to take it in English, it's coming out, as I say, hopefully in the new year. Please let me know how it goes. I would be interested to find out what the test questions are like, and if everything is actually in English. So yeah, I hope that has helped. If you want to know more information about my test and my results, and you want to see exactly what I went through, and I've got some videos on there as well of some people going through the test, so you can go and check it out. There's a link to that below this video. Thanks for watching.